Hello viewers, today we have a tiny surprise for you. We are going to build a tiny and powerful PC based on the new CH160 case from DeepCool. So we are going to divide this video into two parts. One, we are going to review this case in detail, and then we are going to do a PC build. So this is like 336 is the length, and 200 is the width, and 226 is the height. So this is the new lunch box. So you have the front power button, and then you have two USB 3 connectors, and then one USB Type-C connector, and then one 3.5mm jack headset. So the case has all around mesh here, in the top, in the back, and the front, and in the bottom. So there is a fine mesh in the rear side also. This is for the PSU. This is where you will mount the PSU. So this will serve as an intake for the PSU. So if you mount the power supply gets mounted here. If you mount a ATX power supply, have to restrict the size of the GPU. You can't have more than 225mm. So look, there is a real fine mesh here in the front as well as in the bottom. So looking at the cables, so you have this power cable, which gets routed from the back. There is one USB 3.0 cable, and then one HD audio connector, and the front panel connector. It is pretty good because most ITX cases it is quite cumbersome to connect the individual pins. So this is quite easy, and then you have a Type-C connector as well. Now you have to remove the top panel in order to install the power supply. So in terms of fans, you can mount one 120mm fan. Here you can either mount a 120mm fan or a 2.5-inch SSD or a 3.5-inch hard disk. So either one of them. And in terms of fans, you can put two 120mm fans in the top, and then one 120mm fan in the back. So let me remove the top panel. It comes off like this. You can take off this dust filter, the magnetic one, to clean it. To mount the ATX power supply, you have to move the header here. Let's have a look at the components one by one. For the processor, we have chosen Intel's Core i5-12600K. It is from the Alder Lake series of processor that released in the year 2021. But it still is a great value for money. It is one of the processors that has the best price to performance ratio. So it features 10 cores and 16 threads, and it can boost up to 4.9 GHz. So this is the first processor to feature the big. LITTLE architecture, the performance and efficiency core. So you need Windows 11 to take maximum advantage of this architecture. So for the motherboard, we have chosen ASRock's B660M ITX AC. One of the reasons why people avoid building small form factor PCs is because the motherboard and the power supply, and of course the case used to be very expensive. But however, thanks to ASRock, they have the budget lineup of ITX motherboards. So this is one of them. It is plenty good for the 12600K, and it features a Wi-Fi on board. So it's a great value for money, and it costs somewhere about 12,500, which is probably the cost of the B660 or a B760 with a Wi-Fi in a mATX format. So I believe it's a fantastic value. So as you would have guessed, from the case that I showed you, we wanted to go with a white theme. So we chose the RGB RAM in the white. So this is T-Force Delta RGB, and it is clocked at 3600 MHz. So Intel loves fast RAM, so this will definitely increase the performance compared to the stock speed of 3200 MHz. For the storage, we went with the XPG's S50 core 1 terabyte. This is a Gen 4 SSD. It's not the fastest in the Gen 4 world. This is probably, I believe, 3500 Mbps of read and 2800 Mbps of write speed. For a gamer, this is plenty good. If you are doing content creation, maybe I would suggest something better. Okay, now for the GPU, we went with the RTX 4060. RTX 4060 for the past year is becoming one of the the most liked GPU for 1080p gaming. So it offers fantastic value compared to the previous generation 3060, which is again one of the top selling GPUs of its time. So it is in the same series, it has come and improved the performance by about 20%. And what makes it apart is the newest ray tracing standards as well as the DLSS, especially the frame gen, that improves the performance massively. So it is one of the best VFM GPU available. You can get your hands on this, I believe, somewhere about 27 to 30,000 depending on the brand. There is a particular reason why we chose this card actually. So this particular case supports both ATX as well as SFX power supplies. So if you are putting a ATX power supply, of course we went with the ATX power supply to save cost. If you are going for a ATX power supply, the maximum GPU length this case that can accommodate is somewhere about 230 mm. So we had to go for one. This is a only case. This is a only GPU that can sit in this. So this is a only GPU option that is available in the market. We checked the specs of other brands, Gigabyte, Asus, 3D. They're all quite longer, so it won't sit unless you're going for a SFX PSU, which will make the cost a little bit higher. So the idea is to make the total cost as good as a normal M-ATX build. So for cooling, we chose this AK400 digital white tower cooler. So it's a fantastic cooler. I mean, it can cool 12600K quite effectively. 12600K is supposed to be little hot, and it reaches temperatures of up to 4.9 gigahertz. So it requires a very good capable air cooler or a liquid cooler. So in our case, we went with the air cooler so let's see how it turns out. For the power supply, we went with DeepCool's PK550D 80 plus bronze. So for the power rating, this power supply is good enough. We could benefit from a modular power supply, but however in this 550 or 650 watt, there are not a lot of options, and at the same time we wanted to keep the cost little nominal. We don't want the small form factor to affect the costing of the total build. So that's the reason we chose PK550D. And
no, I don't want to waste what's left, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
so as you can see, the performance is quite decent. So the GPU is running at 100%, but it's somewhere about 56 degrees, and the CPU is pretty cool. running at around 36 degrees. So to test the CPU performance, we are running Cinebench 2024. As you can see, the P cores are boosting at around 3.6 gigahertz, and temperature is quite normal. It is somewhere about 50 degrees. As you can see, it's not throttling at all. So we are getting a decent score of 615 points at a multi-core workload. So to conclude, we found this case is pretty aesthetically very pleasing, and it pairs very well with the AK400 or Assassin series of air coolers. I can't comment about liquid coolers because we have not done a build with the liquid cooler so far. In this case, could be a pretty tight fit. That we have is this particular cable that comes via the top. It is actually not fully sitting inside the PSU. So as you can see, there is a slight bulge, in the top. So this is the only feedback that we have. This particular cable is not fully inserting inside the PSU. This may not be an issue if you are using a SFX power supply. The power supply orientation will be in this side. So in that case, this is a non-issue. We felt it's one major, like we said in the opening comments, one major advantage we found this case to have is the price point. It is somewhere about 4,300, 400, which is pretty decent. Actually, earlier we used to build for ITX build. Default option used to be Lianli's A4H2O or the smaller cases from NGXTs, which is the total cost of this build. It is coming very close to what we would have spent on a M-ATX case. So I hope you like this review. Give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.